First day today. Microwave my coffee. First day of school. Whew. You know, so my name is Adrienne. I have 400 children. No, I have 4 children, 3 teenagers, and a 9-year-old, almost 10-year-old with special needs. And he started his first day of 3rd grade today. My next daughter started her last year of middle school, and then my 2 big boys haven't started high school yet. And what is that smell? Maybe it's all the dishes in the sink. It smells like poo. Oh, it's onions in the trash can. And I don't need anybody to be like, does your family not clean up the kitchen? No, they don't. And I'm glad that the rest of you all have wonderful families, but I don't. So there. Hey. So I had a subscriber video this morning. It was a little bit teary because I was kind of processing a lot of emotions. And I was like, I'm going to do a big video. I've sort of gotten myself under control. But basically this morning, this is not actually what I did. This is what it felt like I did. I took my baby, my 18-month-old, and I put a harness on him, and I took him down to the subway in New York City, and I left him at stop 42. And then I called my husband. Hey, Amy Weatherly, what a nice surprise. And I said, do you mind going to check on him at lunch? Now, if I actually did that, all you sanctimommies would be like, that's horrible. That's terrible. Why did you do that? Blah, blah, blah. So I didn't do that. But what I did do felt exactly the same. And the reason I talk about it is not so you can be like, oh, poor you. It's because before Amos, I had no idea that this whole world of special needs existed. And it does. So I took a new 3rd grader to school today. I've taken 3 other 3rd graders to school. I can tell you, I legit did a jig when I dropped them off. I didn't know what they were serving for lunch on the first day. I didn't know who the bus driver was. I didn't know where their desk was. I didn't worry about it. We had the backpack, and that was it. So Amos has autism, and I took him for his first day of school today, and I can tell you, I haven't done anything that hard since I took him to school at age 3 and he was in a diaper. Someone left a toddler in the subway. I feel like I did, but I didn't actually. He did not wear his new shoes. So my daughter got him these new shoes. She said, Amos, I shouldn't say this. I told my husband this story and he didn't laugh. I think he was so horrified. So Amos uses the F word occasionally. It's much better now. But if he's tired, and particularly with his sister, he uses it. And last night, she said he was already in bed going to sleep. And she said, Amos, I got you some new shoes. And he said, oh no, Sissy got you an effing surprise. Sorry, it's a bad way. Was Amos happy? Have you been crying? Yes, I've been crying. Full on crying. Yes, because I took a little boy to school today and he did so well. So years ago on his 3rd birthday, I took him to preschool at the public school. My other kids, when they turned 3, well, they didn't go anywhere until they started preschool, maybe at 3.5 or something. And I remember the principal, who was a good friend, and said this in the nicest way possible. But I was standing there looking through this long, you know how the classrooms have those long pieces of glass in the door? And I was trying not to cry. And she said, how are you doing? And I said, I'm really struggling. This is really hard. And she said, in the nicest way possible, it's hard for all moms when they take their child to school. And I was like, no, no, it's not. Because I've done this 3 times before. You don't take typically developing kids to school in diapers at 3. And it's not the same. And what I didn't know then was that it was going to keep being hard. Like I thought in my mind, well, that was hard, and now that's done. So last year, he had been at the same school for 7 years, ages 3 through 2nd grade. So this is his new school, D.F. Walker, and it's got the same leadership. It's attached to his other school, but it's a new school. And we got to school this morning. We stopped to get a chocolate donut. He did great. They didn't have chocolate donuts, so we got a plain one. He did not wear his new shoes from Sissy. He wanted to wear his natives. We were in the car. He said, where is your lunchbox? I said, oh, I have your lunchbox up here. It's in your backpack. So he's come so far, right? Like he brushed his teeth. We brushed his hair. He took his medicine. We are doing great. And we get to school, and he's sitting in the back seat, and he puts his blankie over his head. And he said, go to Miss Nixon's class. Well, Miss Nixon was his class teacher last year, who they just developed a great relationship. And that was the first year he was really fully in, since pre-K, a regular classroom. And he's now, and he loved it, clearly, because he loves his EC teacher too, but he was asking about Miss Nixon's class, not the other class. So then he said, Mommy's not leaving. And I said, well, no, Mommy's going to go inside. And we went inside and started to get his breakfast. And the woman was being nice, saying, do you want juice? And then he was like, you're not hungry. Well, then I guess he decided he didn't want breakfast. And normally he gets 2 breakfasts, but he didn't want breakfast. And we walked down the hall, and we stopped and looked at the Legos. And then we turned and went down his hallway and saw his teacher. And he went in and said, you're not leaving. I said, no, I'm going to come in a minute. And then he said to the teacher, will you close the door? Like, basically, I'm going to need you to lock my mother in this classroom. And she was like, well, I'm going to leave it open for my other friends. But he hung his backpack up in his cubby. He had his blankie in his backpack. And then he got a thing of Legos that she had showed him at open house. And he asked her and said, it's okay. He got on the carpet, and then I left. I didn't say goodbye. I didn't do anything because it's almost like a toddler at church. Like, he knew I was going to be leaving. And so sometimes it's better just to not make a big deal out of it. And I had offered, I said, do you want me to pick you up this afternoon? Or do you want to ride the bus home? And at first he said, let's me pick him up. But then he said the bus home. Because it's kind of new this year that he's riding the bus right to our house, not to the high school, which is fun. So one of my subscribers this morning, you can't linger. No, you can't. Because, 1, you might start crying. And 2, he's got to have his day going too. But I can tell you, I couldn't have been more nervous or anxious than if I had been butt naked in that classroom. I'm not kidding you. I could have been naked with one of my typical 3rd graders, and I wouldn't have felt the way I did today. My little guy is less verbal. I just want to gather him up. So, Tracy, you're so right. Amos is verbal. Like, he can tell me the shoes and the blankie, but he can't Is he going to tell me how his day was? No. So the best thing I can do is talk to his teachers and have questions to ask. Like if I know who he ate lunch with, I can say, who did you eat lunch with? And then I could say, I heard you ate lunch with Trip. What did, but I need to know things to ask him. But I'm still appreciative that he can tell me something. But boy, it's hard. Holy crap, it's hard. And one of my subscribers pointed out this morning, which is the rest of the story, is I love his school. We saw he calls the superintendent Mr. Dr. Sasser. Mr. Dr. Sasser was waving and he rolled his window down, or I did, and he waved to him. We saw the principal. We saw all three of his teachers. We saw the cafeteria ladies. We saw the school nurse. I couldn't feel more comfortable than I do there. I trust the people in that school implicitly. I have no hesitations. I know everybody is going to be kind. The children know Amos. What if I didn't have those feelings? What if I were dropping him off at a place that I didn't trust? So, and just know that there are a lot of parents that do that and have no choice. And I just want you to know that I see you and hear you and understand that my anxiety is nothing like yours is. Because I don't have fear of the setting. I just love him so much. And it's really hard to be a crybaby over something. I think, I'll talk to my mom this morning and I will not cry to her on the phone. In my mind, and nobody ever told me this, but it's like in my mind, crying over something is like a sign of weakness. And I know that's not true. But that's kind of what my mind tells my heart. Like, stop it. Get it together. You're going to be fine. But discernment in me is, Adrienne, you know people need to hear this. And you know that other parents need to know that somebody gets it. Somebody understands that this is hard. And it's always going to be hard. It's not going to get easy. And I just hate that I was walking this earth and didn't know when I saw those parents at school pushing their child in a wheelchair, or maybe holding the hand of their little boy with Down syndrome or their daughter with autism. And I just smiled and, went about my business. I wish I had known, because I think I would have said to them, boy, I know this is hard for you. Or you got this. And my friends know, I think my friends are like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to say anything because she's going to probably start crying. But I know that they aren't saying anything because they know that I don't want to start crying, So it's just really important that parents, if you're out there, that you can acknowledge that it's hard, and not just for kids that have big disabilities. Maybe you have a child with ADD or ADHD, or maybe OCD, or maybe anxiety, and your kid's not the standard circle in this very round world. Maybe your child's just got a few rough edges. We're full on square at our house. Maybe you're an octagon. I almost said octagon. But it still might be hard for you. Maybe you're worried that your child might be bullied. Maybe your child is quirky. Maybe your child is really shy. Maybe your child talks too much. Everybody's got something. And if your child is just a regular, plain old kid, then talk to them about how everybody is different. I mean, you wouldn't think that I'd need to talk to my kids about this, but I do. I mean, I was talking to my rising senior this year, like, make sure you are looking out and inclusive of everybody, you know? So I have a friend, Carrie Curiello and Kate Swenson, and we all have kids with disabilities, and we talk and text and everything. And, you know, when I am processing feelings, it's like, do I do a video? Do I write? Do I pretend I'm fine and go and wash dishes? You know, I do all sorts of things. But today I'm feeling all the feelings. And a couple weeks ago, I was feeling all the feelings of having a senior. Well, now I'm not sad about that anymore. I've moved on. No offense. Rising senior, blah, blah, blah. I'm fine. But you know why? It's not because I just don't care anymore. It's because I felt the feelings. I have a senior. This is hard. I don't want to have a senior. I just had a baby. Why do I have a senior? And then once you feel the feelings, they don't own you anymore. If there's one thing I wish I had learned before I was 40 years old, it is that. It wasn't until Amos was just not developing like my other kids that I realized something was different. And I tried to swallow all that hurt and pain, and I did it. I had done it for a long time. My brother had died, and that's when I first learned it. Then my best friend died of cancer a few years later. Tried it again. Lost some friends in a fire. Same thing. Anytime something bad happened, I just shoved it down. And then when Amos came along and I was feeling these feelings and I tried to shove them down, I didn't have any more room. I was filled up with hurt and I had to feel the feelings. And after about a year of that, I realized I had joy again. I thought after I lost my big brother, who was like my shining star, my favorite person on the planet, I didn't think I'd have joy again. I was happy, but I didn't think I'd have joy again. And I did. And it came because I was sharing and being vulnerable and feeling the feelings, you know? That's it. Feel the feelings. So yesterday I dropped off my senior in high school. He's at boarding school. And sweated, made his bed up, did all sorts of stuff. And then today, so he's 17. And then today I drop off this 9-year-old brother. And somebody said to me, a good friend said, I just don't know how you drop him off how you take him to boarding school. And went to bed last night, woke up thinking, boarding school ain't nothing to taking your third grader with disabilities to school. Nothing. I could send people to boarding school all day long. So for the parents out there that really want to understand how I send my kids to boarding school, I would ask that you think about that, how it's so much harder to send my third grader than it is boarding school. And you probably are like, what? That sounds crazy. But it's really true. It's really true. Feelings are meant to be felt, part of living. We can use our feelings to walk beside others going through similar situations. Yeah, it is. So anyway. So first day of third grade has started. It is 9:40. School has not called me. I hope I get a little email or text, and I will be standing out in front of the house waiting for the school bus this afternoon for Amos. My 8th grader went to school just for a little comedic, is that a word? Comedic? Comedic? Comic relief. And I have a PhD in education. Comedic. comedic relief. So my 8th grader, who I was concerned that I couldn't see her shorts under her shirt. And I said, do you think you should wear pants today? She was like, I have them on. I was like, is it going to be a problem? Well, I'll probably get a warning. I was like, can we, let's not start the day with a dress code violation. So instead of being like the mother I would have been 5 years ago, because I had boys and they wore long shorts, I said, well, just pull them down. We want to see the lunchbox. The lunchbox is gone. So we couldn't find the freaking lunchbox because I'm accused of hiding and stealing people's lunchboxes. Legitimately. That's what people think I do in this house. So we found a bag. Well, I found one bag and she wouldn't take it because, where is it? Because she said it didn't have, well, she said this one was too big, which I guess it is. It's like, it's cooler. So then I found another bag. This is all the stuff we were signing this morning. I'm sure there's mothers. If any mother out there has some sort of filing system, I don't ever want to see it. Do not put it up because people will hate you. So then I gave her this bag. I was like, here's a bag. She was like, that's a shoe bag with no handle. Damn it. So then I found one more bag in the pantry. I mean, in the closet. Hold on, I'm going to show you what was in it because this is funny. This is basically what my life looks like. Outside, inside. So I find this bag in here and I'm going to show you what was in it. Bravecto. It was a bag from the vet that I swear was like a parvo bag, like Prevent Parvo, blue bag. And so she didn't want me to, or my husband to take her to school this morning. She wanted to ride with a friend, which was fine. They wanted to walk in together. And of course, they're on time and we're not. So he picks her up. Well, you know who takes her to school? The vet, our friend who's the vet. And then she gets in the car. They leave. I walk in the dining room. There's the vet bag, the dog bag with her lunch in it. So I have to call her. Your lunch is here. I carry that. And then I have to go down there and carry the parvo bag and hand it to the vet who's the driver. I mean, you want to talk about just conceding defeat. It's happened, people. It's done. And then, because I'm really a pushover, I gave her $40 to go downtown and get herself a lunchbox after the bus stop so she wouldn't call and harangue me about coming to pick her up on the first day. Shop small. Polka Dot Palm has got Scout lunchboxes, and there's going to be a brand new one at this house this afternoon. Yep. Stop, no itch. You can't make this stuff up. So anyway, see, I'm already not crying. Is there a lunchbox in the garage? I don't know where the lunchbox is. The lunchbox probably still has the lunch in it from May. You love my videos. You need to be a subscriber. You would like them. Every day we have a video. Your closets look like mine. Keep the door closed. You would like me if you need somebody that is perfect and does those hacks like packing food in bento boxes. I'm not your person. Yeah, my subscriber video this morning, the cat was trying to throw up on the couch. I had to get the cat out of here. She didn't throw up. She was just faking it because there's nothing like a sound from a cat to get me out of a chair. A $40 lunchbox. Well, I mean, it's not even that ridiculous. Lunchboxes at the TJ Maxx are like $22. I mean, no. I am the place for you. you're my long-lost twin. I've always wanted a long-lost twin. I'm worried that the only twin I have is like growing in my stomach with claws. Have you ever seen that show where you reabsorb your twin and like give birth? Maybe that's why my stomach is fat. Couldn't have anything to do with the fact that I ate 497 BLT sandwiches this summer and French fries with ranch. I could almost drive to the beach just for the day to eat lunch and come right back. Shh, quiet. Okay, I'm off to start my day now. What about a brown paper sack? I don't have any brown paper sacks. Do I look like I have brown paper sacks? No, nothing. I got nothing. We are overly in prep mode and organization. Oh, I'm not your person. No. Well, Ann, you need to come be a subscriber. Yeah, I'm not your person. Unless you want to feel better about yourself. Does Blair have a backpack? Yes, Blair has a backpack. She got one for her birthday in July. From, I don't know, a backpack that I didn't like, but she liked, and that's all that matters. I don't worry about that. My children were looking at pictures of themselves when they started school. My son Thomas, when he was in the 3rd grade, he looked like a freaking highlighter. He had on blue shorts and yellow socks. He was like, why did you let me wear that? I was like, because I did not care. And then that was the same. My daughter was in kindergarten, and the nice teacher, Miss Winslow, she called me and said, it's school picture day today. I was like, oh, yeah. She was like, do you want me to take the, that tattoo off Blair's cheek? It was like a cricket that had like, kind of like gotten off. I said, does she want it off? She was like, Blair, do you want me to take? Blair was like, nah. She was like, no. What about her hair? I was like, oh, it's fine. Well, that way, when you get the school pictures that you never buy, they just get sent home, and then you're supposed to pick some out. Well, half the time, they never even go back to school, so I just have a bunch of photos in my office that have proof written on them. Well, then you remember what somebody looked like that age. You're like, I remember that grade. That was kindergarten. Carry on, people. Everybody have a good first year. Lots of love to all the teachers and the mamas and the daddies and the children. We can do this.